I'm Emily Balderson, and I'm a rising duo at the University of Texas School of Law here in Austin, Texas. My advocacy pitch project is to ban the use and sale of shock collars in Austin, Texas, and it is massively inspired by my love for my dog, Walnut the Mutt. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of why I hate shock collars and why you probably should too, here are just a few tricks that my dog, Walnut, was able to learn using only positive reinforcement training. Sit. Shake. Spin. Good boy. Sit pretty. Oh, it's beautiful. Speak. Now let's learn a little more about why shock collars should be banned. But first, let's go inside. It's hot as hell.
Whew. Okay, that's much better. Now let's learn a little bit more about shock collars and their negative effects. In this presentation, I will first give a brief overview of e-collars and what they are. Then, I will discuss a few of the many issues that shock collars raise and their implications. Lastly, I will explain why I think Defend Them All should take on this project as the organization's next animal welfare effort. First, let's learn a bit about what shock collars are and some of the common misconceptions surrounding them. A shock collar is an electronic collar designed to remotely deliver electric shocks to dogs as a means of training or controlling their behavior. They use electric current passing through metal prongs that contact the dog's skin to give your dog an electric shock. These shocks can range from a mild tickling sensation to a painful shock, can last for up to 11 seconds, and can be administered from miles away. These devices have become increasingly controversial due to the physical and psychological harm they can inflict on our beloved canine companions. As advocates for animal welfare and responsible pet ownership, it is imperative to push for a ban on shock collars to protect dogs from unnecessary suffering and to promote positive training methods. The following are some common arguments proponents of shock collars raise in defense of using them. First, proponents contend that shock collars provide an instant correction to a dog's behavior, making it easier for the dog to associate the correction with the unwanted behavior. They argue that this swift feedback helps the dog understand which actions are undesirable. In reality, dogs may not always associate the shock with the specific behavior they are engaging in at the time of the correction. The swift and unexpected nature of the shock can lead to confusion and anxiety and a lack of understanding about the exact cause of the punishment. This confusion can hinder the dog's ability to learn and may lead to increased stress. Secondly, proponents argue that shock collars can be used to provide off-leash control, particularly in situations where a dog's safety is paramount, such as near roads or in environments with potential hazards. This is another common misconception. In high-stress or stimulating situations, such as near roads or in busy environments, a dog's attention may be diverted from the shock collar correction to the external stimuli. This can diminish the collar's effectiveness as a control tool and potentially put the dog at risk if they fail to respond to the correction. Lastly, those in favor of shock collars point out that shock collars typically have adjustable intensity settings, allowing trainers to tailor the correction level to the dog's temperament and the severity of their behavior. They argue that this customization helps prevent unnecessary harm. While this contention may have partial truths, it fails to consider the whole picture. Shock collars are electric devices, and like any technology, they can experience malfunctions. A malfunction could result in an inconsistent or incorrect shock level, potentially subjecting the dog to either an excessively intense shock or no correction at all. The effectiveness of shock collars also heavily relies on proper use and adjustment by the trainer or owner. If the collar is not calibrated correctly, the intensity could be far too high, causing unnecessary pain and distress for the dogs and sometimes even resulting in burns. Users might also inadvertently increase the intensity due to confusion or misinterpretation of devices' controls. Next, we will look at just a few of the common problems that shock collars raise and considerations to make regarding their use. To start, animal welfare issues related to shock collar use are apparent. Dogs are intelligent social creatures that are capable of a wide range of emotions, just like humans. Studies have shown that shock collars lead to fear, anxiety, and increased aggression in dogs. Even owners with the best of intentions for using shock collars as a training tool can irreparably damage their relationship with their dog due to the nature of this tool. Studies have shown that dogs subjected to shock collars associate the pain of being shocked with their owners and have shown increased anxiety and fear when in the presence of their owner. Next, it is important to note that using shock collars as a method of training is generally not as effective as other training methods. It is well settled amongst dog experts and trainers that the best way to train a dog is through positive reinforcement training. Positive reinforcement training methods are not only more effective, but more humane and respectful of a dog's mental and emotional well-being. Rather than inflicting pain, we can build a stronger bond with our canine companions by rewarding desired behaviors with love, treats, and praise. Next, there is a high potential for misuse amongst individuals operating shock collars. Shock collars can easily fall into the wrong hands, leading to misuse and inconsistent training techniques. These collars can be bought on Amazon and delivered to your door before the day is over. Untrained individuals may use shock collars excessively, causing long-term behavioral problems or worsening existing ones. Additionally, using shock collars commonly leads to inadvertently punishing animals for behaviors that weren't intended to be corrected, heightening fear and confusion. Lastly, it is important to note that the likelihood that a shock collar will malfunction is higher than any dog owner should feel comfortable with. Technology malfunctions, it just does. And unfortunately, when attached to a dog, shock collars can cause incredibly harmful burns and other horrific problems. There is no regulatory oversight on the dog training industry, so accidents like these often go unchecked. The level of shock can often be inconsistent and unpredictable, making it difficult for animals to associate a specific punishment with a specific behavior. Finally, here is why I think Defend Them All should choose this project to take on as their next advocacy effort. Defend Them All should take on this project not only because of the obvious animal welfare issues at stake, but also because of the potential doors this project could open. I believe the best way to get people to care about animal welfare issues is by starting with companion animals. If we can't convince people to care about the welfare of the pets they share their home with, how can we expect them to care about a niche species of frog, for example? Additionally, this project can be done and needs to be done everywhere. This is just the starting point. People write Texas off based on stereotypes and view the state as a hellscape for addressing animal welfare issues like these. And in some cases, those people are right. But does that mean that the many animals of Texas deserve our help any less? After all, Texas is huge. If anything, Texas's political climate is more of a reason to start here. It would show that Defend Them All cares about and advocates for animals all over the country and the world, even when things get tough. Austin is consistently ranked in the top 10 of the most dog-friendly cities in the country, and I can't think of a better place to start like this within the state of Texas. In conclusion, I implore you to consider the well-being of our canine companions and the ethical implications of using shock collars. Banning these devices is a crucial step towards promoting compassion, responsible pet ownership, and a more humane society. Let Austin, Texas be the first to show the country that we value the welfare of animals and strive for a better future for both humans and our loyal companions. Together, we can create a world where positive reinforcement and love prevail, allowing dogs to thrive and be the joyful, loving companions they were meant to be. Walnut and I thank you for listening, and let's get to work.